For a long time, I've been starting my diet tomorrow. In fact, it's become a running joke around my house that my kids use to tease me all the time. You see, in my head, I'm going to get back to the shape I was in when I was younger. And I'm always doing it tomorrow because today I want to have that extra piece of cake, or I want to have a cookie, or I just want to have more food than I should eat at dinner because it tastes so good. Tomorrow, though, never comes. In fact, tomorrow doesn't exist. All that exists is the here and the now. And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to be wasting your entire life by waiting for tomorrow. Hi, I'm Ruben. I run this show, which we call Reboot You. And I'm here right now to tell you how you can do some techniques to reboot yourself, i.e., remake yourself an image that you want to be made in. Now, my own personal story, I've had a lot of tough things in my life that many of you have gone through. Addiction, both to alcohol and to gambling, as well as to something as silly as chess. I've had some ups and downs in the job market. I've had some highs and lows all over my life. But basically, the biggest thing I've had to do is to reinvent myself multiple times. One time I was at a little rock bottom, and the other time I wasn't. I was very comfortable. And I just did a video stating that when I was comfortable, it was actually harder to reinvent myself than when I was at rock bottom. But today, what I want to talk about is the simple fact that only thing that exists is the here and now. And that if you keep waiting, it's whatever you're expecting is not going to come. I first understood this when I was in my 20s. I was kind of between colleges. I had changed college from a smaller private school to a larger public university. And I had a semester off. And during that semester, I wasn't doing too much. And one day I was lying on the couch and my mom kind of yelled at me like, get up, move, because I went back home to live. And I found out, I was like, what am I doing? I'm just waiting for something to happen. And I thought about that and I was like, what is going to happen? And I noticed that throughout my life, that was the first time I really considered a fact. Because when you're young, a lot of times things are structured for you, i.e., you go to school because your mom tells you to go to school. At the school, they tell you what classes to go to. And then you join a sport and your coach tells you go to practice. And at practice, you got to do this. And they set matches up. And so all these things are structured for you. But in this moment, this was the first time in my life where I really had some time outside of school and stuff like that to just sit and think and realize hey, what if these things weren't going on? What would happen? And I kind of understood that nothing would happen. But as I found out, things do happen. What happens is time marches on. Time accelerates. And I found this out, unfortunately, the hard way, i.e., I started making mistakes in my life. I started, I had a problem with alcohol. I started drinking more. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to quit. And of course I didn't quit. And a lot of times I would use an excuse, I'm going to stop drinking tomorrow, right? This will be my last time. And all of a sudden I found out I got 20 years of drinking under my belt. That's 2 decades of my life gone. Really, a lot of it was just wasted. Not that I didn't do anything. For a while, I started lightening up and I managed some decent things, but it was a very tough point in my life. It's what led me to my rock bottom that I rebooted myself out of. But it was that thought that something would change later. Now, many times I did try to stop. I tried to stop right then and there. But always this point would come where the craving got too large and I thought, well, you know what? I'm still young enough. I can do this later. I can do this tomorrow. I have time. And then my entire 20s disappeared. And then a lot of my 30s disappeared. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And the funny thing is I still do it. And I talk about that in my last video where I referenced just because I quit drinking, it wasn't like a lot of these behaviors I had just went away. they started manifesting themselves in different ways. Now, I'm not saying I'm a heavy guy or anything like that. I'm not trying to have some kind of body, what do you call it? Body dysmorphia or something. But, I've always liked to run. Even when I was drinking heavily, I always enjoyed running. That was one thing that I would try to channel my addiction into. In fact, when I was drinking my heaviest, I actually was running my most. I was, sometimes I'd have 70, 80 mile weeks at a 400-mile month. Never really a great runner though. But, what I did was all of a sudden this thought process, it moved to other things. It moved to food a lot. And so in my head, I would be like, hey, now that I'm not drinking, I can actually focus on running and become a good runner. But, I want to get my weight down to this certain weight, a running weight. Because when you run, every single pound matters. And so in my head, I'd be like, okay. And I'd be like, well, my wife cooks some good food. I want to have an extra portion. Oh, we're going out to eat with the family. I want to have a little bit more. Oh, there's cookies in the house. I need to have an entire row of cookies. It doesn't matter. I'll start my diet tomorrow. And when I say this, I know this isn't the biggest of deals, but I started recognizing once my kids started joking with me that I've been starting my diet tomorrow for multiple years, and they had picked up on it, and they knew now that I would simply put, it never really happened. Like, again, just like with drinking, there would be times where I would start my diet for like 15, 30 days. And then just like with drinking, what would happen? I'd stop because I couldn't make that lifestyle change, right? That many talk about. And so I'm here to tell you, tomorrow doesn't come. And the way I've really been able to beat that is by understanding that when you have this type of thinking, basically I've identified the problem as being all or none thinking. And so if you're an addict, you're probably used to this. When you drink, really all it took for me was one drink. All I had to do when I was white knuckling it through is that, I got 70 days of sobriety and oh my God. But in the back of my head, I just knew if I could get that one drink, that whatever, all these other thoughts would just, they go away. Because the cycles would start in my brain. All the neurons would start firing. All the patterns for the drinking would start firing. And all the resistance would just fall apart. And I knew that. And so all I knew is I had to just take that one drink and it would all fall away. And for me, getting sober, actually, when I finally did it, some people get sober by doing that. But for me, it was a little different. I went to a judge. I'd gotten my third DUI. I think I've mentioned it before on here. And I had crashed a scooter in the middle of winter, a 150 scooter. I used to, why would you ride a scooter, you would say? Because I didn't want to hurt anyone else. So I picked the smallest vehicle possible. But it was winter. It was freezing cold. And I was on the interstate. And it could go like 65, actually. But I crashed it and I got hurt. And I went before the judge. And the judge, this was my third DUI. And she was a nice lady. And she said, Ruben, the courts don't care if you personally drink. They don't personally have an opinion on it. But the courts would prefer that if you do drink, you don't drive. It was a kind of a nice way of her saying, like, right, they don't want to see me here anymore. If I'm going to drink, at least make the decision not to drive at all. Now, I'd stop driving cars, right? That was one thing, because I was like, I never want to hurt someone. I'm going to ride the scooter. Now, I know you can say, hey, you could hurt someone on a scooter. Absolutely. Now I realize how stupid that was, even if the person I hurt was myself. Okay, but that was my twisted thinking back then. But that was my first thought of, wait a second, I have this big problem, but I can make this problem a little bit better. Right? And then shortly thereafter that, I actually had a white knuckle event where I went out and drank. And I had a drink. And I heard her words in my head. And I thought to myself, if I cannot drive, I cannot have another drink. And I didn't. And that was, I don't even remember, 9 years ago, or it was a while ago. It was a long time ago. And that's how it ended for me. As simply as that. It was a simple realization for me that it doesn't have to be all or nothing, that I can simply stop at any. Now, when you say this, it's going to be some alcoholics that say, I can't. This is my story. But I realized I could stop at that point. I don't have to go on, right? There's nothing forcing me to go on. Yes, my brain and all these feelings want to, but there's this other part of me that does have a voice. It does have reason. It does have logic, and it can act also, and I can listen to it. And in that instance, I did. And all of a sudden, I started listening to it more, so that when I had these urges, I wouldn't think of it as an all and nothing thing like I used to before. Oh, I got so many days. In fact, that was one thing I stopped doing. I stopped counting days because I didn't want to be all or nothing. I wanted it to be a lifestyle. So what I would do is I would just kind of tell myself, well, I'm just going to do X, Y, Z. And if I still want to drink, I'll go later or I'll go tomorrow. And I would keep telling myself that. And now here I am, again, like 9 years later, maybe it's been 10, I don't know. And I haven't drank. And now I don't have white knuckle events. I still have urges every now and then. I don't have white knuckle events. And the same has happened for me with dieting. Instead of thinking it has to be all or nothing, I'm going on my diet right now, and I'm going to lose all this weight. I just simply say, you know what I'm going to do? Maybe on some days I'm going to eat some more. But if I do, I don't have to keep eating excessively the rest of the week. I can pick a few days to cut back on my eating. And see, this type of thinking, it was completely foreign to my mind. My mind was so all or nothing, right? And that's why I always put things off till tomorrow. Because in my mind, it was like, well, I can't do this today, so I'm going to start it tomorrow. When I start it tomorrow, everything's going to be different. Oh, I'm just going to flip this switch and it's all going to be different, right? The whole world's going to be different. Everything's going to be upside down. And that's one of the biggest things that have helped me to reshape myself, is to understand it doesn't have to be like that. That simply put, all I have to do is focus on the here and now. And if I do something that's not in agreement with whatever my stated goals are, that's fine. Because in the next moment, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, in the next moment, I can get back to that. So for instance, I've been getting my weight down to my race weight. I want to get to about 165. I weigh, I think, 172 right now. So I've been doing these shakes. They're like a meal shake. But on Friday, we went out to eat. And I told myself, it's fine. I'm going to eat what I want to. Because the place we went to, I really like their fish. Friday night fish is a big thing where I live. And I said, I want 3 pieces of fish instead of 2. And I want, the French fries and some coleslaw and all this stuff. And so I had all that. And afterwards, I had some cookies. Now you might laugh at this stuff, right? Which is fine. It's a silly story. But the whole thing is that in my head, I wasn't beating myself up. And I wasn't saying, oh God, I'm off my diet. So the next day, well, I'm off my diet. Might as well go out to eat in the morning. Might as well go out to eat at lunch. Might as well go out to eat at dinner again. Because that's what I would used to do. Right? Well, I'll start my diet tomorrow. But what? Right now, I'm partying. Hey guys, what's in the house? Cookies? I'm going to eat them all. Bag of chips, going to eat the whole thing. The two are very closely linked. And by learning that, hey, you know what? I don't have to be perfect. And tomorrow isn't going to change anything. I'm not saying you can't literally start something tomorrow. If it's within your nature to be able to, then do it. But I know there's other people out there like me, 100%. And so that's who I'm speaking to. And I'm telling you, tomorrow doesn't come. Stop putting it off until tomorrow. Just start it now. It doesn't matter what you did prior today. Okay? So if you told yourself you're going to start your diet and you just got done eating a giant piece of cake, don't wait until tomorrow. Just do it now. Just start right now. If you just had a drink of alcohol and you told yourself earlier today, I'm never going to drink again, and you just had a drink of alcohol, right? Then stop right now. Just stop right now. Okay? You can do it, right? And don't worry about tomorrow. When tomorrow comes, deal with it then. Deal with what happens then. Let tomorrow worry about itself. This fits well into the grass is greener on the other side. I went to, believe it or not, 7 different colleges because I always thought the grass is going to be greener over there. I'm going to let you in on a hint right now. It wasn't. It wasn't greener anywhere else. Just be here and now. Enjoy where you're at, right? Stop going for all or nothing. Just be. That's all there is to it. Now today, again, I said I want to always do something with you guys. We're going to do mantras. We're going to do the same ones over because I believe mantras help to rewrite the brain. Sorry, I'm saying my R's are weird because of this word. Rewire the brain. Okay, I truly believe that. I've used mantras to help me in many situations. I used to have a lot of bad thoughts, weird thoughts. Just like my own kids when they were babies. Like, I didn't want to hold them because I just think like, oh, I'm going to drop them out of nowhere, Like my arms will just suddenly spray out, Like just the weirdest thoughts, right? Just come in like that. Like that's what I mean by weird. Like why would my arms just spray out? But, So I learned that I can control these type of things by one, not paying any attention to them when they happen, right? Oh, there's a thought. Just let it go. And 2, rewiring my brain. I was just about to say we again. Rewiring my brain. And how do I do that? With mantras. So usually I'll say it 10 times. But this time, because you might be, I don't want to do all these with you. I'll just do 3. And you can just go along with me. I'm strong. I'm free. I'm blessed. And I'm healthy. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. I am here and now. And also, I was going to say, while you're saying these, if you can, even if you fake it, try to put feeling and meaning into it too. Even if you have to fake it to trick your brain. I am strong. I am free. I am blessed. And I am healthy. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. I am here and now. I am strong, I am free, I am blessed, and I am healthy. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. I am here and now. All of you out there, no matter where you are, I wish you well. Let me know if there's anything ever I can do for you. Take care.